guys, it's Glenn from GlennCarCollection.com, and today we're driving my 2004 Honda S2000. So 2004 model year is the first year of the AP2, and if you follow the channel for a long time, you know I've owned 3 AP2s. Though I recently drove an AP1 and fell in love with that with its 9,000 RPM redline. So if you haven't seen it already, check out my video of the AP1 versus AP2. All right, so you're probably going to see this video in January or February, but I'm filming it in December just before the holidays. Now, once the snow hits and the salt, you know, I probably won't have much access to dealer cars to review because I don't want to ruin their really nice cars with salt. So when I don't have videos, I put in videos of my own car. So obviously I don't want my own car full of salt, so I have to post the, at least film those videos before the salt hits, and then I can use them as filler videos while I wait to do new press cars and dealer cars. All right, so I've had this car. How long have I had this car? I think I did a 2-year review, so I bought it 2021. Almost 3 years for this car. I believe I bought it February of 2021. I tell the whole story. It's a very interesting story how I found this car, how I got it, and how it got to this point. So as you know, if you follow the channel, I had 2 low mileage AP2s, a 9,000 mile 04 and an 11,000 mile 06. I sold them for what I thought was big money before the pandemic. Now they'd probably be $50,000, $60,000 cars. And I said, you know what, I want to buy another one. I miss it so much. Every time I got a crazy offer for one of my low mileage S2000s, I would accept it because, hey, now you have money to buy something else. But every time I would always miss it and come back to the S2000. So this time around, back in February of 2021, I wanted to buy a car with at least 30,000 miles so I could put miles on and not feel guilty. Figure I could put 20,000 miles and I won't lose a dime. And I drive this car as much as I can. Obviously, I have to review cars. So on nice days, I'm typically not driving my car. I'm driving your car or a dealer car or a new BMW or something like that. But I did put 1,500 miles on this car, which is a lot in 1 year. I know that's not a lot, but that's a lot with all these cars and all these cars to review. So this person is just going in front of me and has no idea I'm behind them. So the best thing I love about this car is the handling, its nimbleness, and the sound. The sound is pretty good too. Now we just got out of my 2011 Audi R8 V10, and even though it's a V10, it is quiet as a Lexus compared to this car. Now I bought this car coming from, well, my first S2000, not this one, coming from a Lotus Exige S. So I went from an Exige to my first S2000, even though I had driven them before. It was like going from a race car to a Lexus. So this car seemed like a Lexus, how quiet and comfortable and smooth it was compared to that Exige that has no sound deadening and you feel every bump goes to your lower back. I play ice hockey and I thought I had a bad lower back from hockey. As soon as I sold my Exige, my back got better. Now, fast forward 10 years, I do have a bad lower back from ice hockey. But it really depends where you're coming from. If you're coming from an Exige, this will feel like a Lexus. If you have a nice German car, BMW, Audi, Mercedes with a luxurious interior, this is going to feel like a Lotus Exige to you. Now the difference you can see, that Audi with the V10 actually has sound deadening. So that car is quiet except when we roll the windows down and get it up to that 8,000, 8,700 RPM redline. This car, it sounds loud at all speeds. Especially when you get up towards its 8,000 RPM redline. So now we're loud third gear, 4,800 RPM, go to fourth gear, we're still at about 3,500 RPM. Now this car gets great gas mileage. It's a small gas tank, but I can trash this car for an hour and the gas meter barely moves. Trash it for 2 hours and the gas meter barely moves. This in the NSX, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm getting, you know, mid to high 20s, even thrashing it around. Now it was 50 degrees when I took the R8 out. I'm taking this out next, so it's probably dropped in the 40s and starting to drop rapidly since it's going to be dark in about 45 minutes. So I'm not going to put the top down, but I thought about it. I actually saw an old MG Roadster a couple hours ago when I was driving the R8 with the top down. So everybody's got their car out now. They know this is probably the last drive. I wouldn't be surprised if they start salting the roads next week. So this is probably the last drive until spring. Now, a car like the R8, you could probably drive for 8 hours across country, no problem with its magnetic suspension. This car, you know, if you're over 30, you probably want to have drives that are 2 hours or less, because you probably will start feeling it. It's just very loud in here. It's much louder with the top down. The sound kind of gets trapped in here. Good for filming videos, but probably not the best for some long highway runs. But this car you could trash. It's got titanium connecting rods, just like the NSX. You can trash this car till there's no tomorrow, and the car will love it for you. It won't protest. It wants to be driven this way. So what I do, I very rarely drive this car on the highway unless I just want to do like a quick highway run and go through the gears, but go down a third. I try to usually find the tightest back roads I can with this car. The more heavier the car, the more open roads, more highway I drive it, like say my Panamera. For fun with a small nimble car like this, I try to find the tightest roads that I can, because that's where this car really shines. Unfortunately, we have to pay attention to speed limits, but we can still have fun with this manual transmission. This is probably the best shifting manual ever. The throws are nice and tight. Everything about the gearbox, like every manual transmission, I'm talking to you, BMW, should have a tight, responsive, feel-good transmission like this. I think the AP1s were tested by Motor Week at about 6.5 seconds, lowering the red line and having the VTEC kick in early. I think these cars are about 5.7 to 6 seconds. And it is a pretty noticeable difference, but you don't have that zing in the AP1s. That 8,000 to 9,000 RPM in the AP1 is really magical. This is more confidence inspiring. I can throw this in a corner, maybe a road that I don't know, and I'm just confident the suspension will do what I want it to do, where you have that kind of snap oversteer, especially on the early AP1s. Now make sure when you drive in cold weather, I'll drive my cars as long as there's not salt on the road. These S2000s, they rust pretty easily, so I would not take my car out if there was any hint of salt. And even if the side roads are clear, the highways probably aren't, so you really got to be careful. There was a dead something in the road there. Looked like a wolf. Air conditioning works great. It's a little tiny car. Heat works just as good. Unlike my Lotus, where the air conditioning barely worked, I bought that car in October, and the owner warned me. He said, you know, you're going to be dying driving this car in the middle of summer, and it felt great in October because it's only like the interior was smaller than this. And then when I got it on some hot summer days, I'm like, oh my God, this air conditioning is like, you can't even tell if the air was cool or not. So this is just a much more usable car compared to the Lotus. And unless you wanted to really have that Lotus experience, I think this is better for 90% of you. And honestly, I think a Boxster, if you want a convertible, is better than both of those experiences for most people, because then you can have a comfortable interior, you can even get some nice leather, better stereo, the whole bit. I'm not a super convertible type person. I always pick the coupe over the convertible. Over the years, I've been enjoying the ride a little more, not necessarily the fastest lap time. So I am enjoying convertibles a lot more than I did, say, 10 years ago. And I think it's just a great experience. You don't have to go as fast. You still have the manual transmission, and you can hear a lot of sounds. And I'm not necessarily so much a fun in the sun person. I like to take it out after dinner in the summer. It starts cooling down, you know, it starts going from 80 degrees to maybe 70 degrees. And you don't have to worry about sunburn or anything like that if you're stopped at a light. And it just makes it an altogether, I would say, more fun driving experience if the sun's going down, you know, like a sunset cruise in a convertible sports car like this. Now this car gets a lot of thumbs up. I guess there's not too many stock S2000s left, so obviously you can't tell the mileage by looking at this car, but this car probably gets just as much as attention, and yellow may have something to do with it, that my NSX does. For the NSX, a lot of people don't know what it is. They may think it's a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, so they're kind of like puzzled when they see that, where it seems like you know, a lot of guys or younger guys know what the S2000 is, and this car gets a ton of thumbs up. Now, that said, this car is probably not going to be exciting or your first choice to your significant other on a date night, since it's kind of rough and you feel every bump, and it's loud. But if you just want to go out with a drive with your buddies, you know, this is a great car to take, because you don't have to be going fast to enjoy it, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. So this car, I always say there's two cars every enthusiast should experience: this and an E46 M3. I used to say maybe I would favor the E46 M3. I've had a couple of those and a couple of these. I'm starting to get more in the S2000 bandwagon, just because as these cars are getting 15 years old and 20 years old, that this is just a lot more reliable and much easier to maintain than your E46 M3. Your E46 M3 is going to cost you a fortune with vanos and rod bearings and you name it, and just, you know, old car suspension stuff, and you need to redo the cooling system and, you know, everything. Where this car can rock on, it could be 15, 20 years old, almost like the NSX with 150, 200,000 miles, and still drive like a fantastic car. And that's why I think you see, you know, 200,000 mile cars are still fetching 15 grand, and, you know, 10,000 mile cars are fetching 50 or 60 grand, because it's a great driving experience. Will these cars be worth, I think if you have a stock clean car, wait 10 years, these could easily be 50,000 mile cars. They made a lot of them, 66,000. So to give you a reference point, the NSX, there's 8,900. E46 M3, there's about 25,000. So they made, you'll see, and but you don't see many of these, because they were $10,000 to $15,000 cars for so long. They got riced out and slammed with suspension and fart can exhaust and all these things that kind of ruin the experience of the car. And a lot of these cars are beyond repair. Most of these cars have ripped tops. Cost you about $3,000 installed to get a new top. So that's not the end of the world, say if you bought an S2000 for $20,000. Now this is what kills me. It's the speed limit's 40, this person's doing 25, and has no chance of making turns here. Look at the speed that they have to go making turns. And now we've dropped to 21 miles an hour. They almost crossed the double yellow. So this is driving at its finest in New Jersey. So whatever way they go, we're not going. They go straight, we'll turn right. They turn right, we'll go straight. And I don't know, it's just an experience. So you know what, I think I'm gonna be stuck for this car. There's no turns for a while, so I'm gonna end the video right here. So get out and drive, definitely drive your car. If there's no salt on the road, or maybe you're lucky to live a place that doesn't snow, so they don't salt the roads. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I post a new video every Monday, so make sure to watch it, like it, and leave a comment so I can continue with the channel. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.